Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the Basketball Show. My name is Paul. This one is going to be a little bit different. We're going into a different topic. I've seen an interview recently by Sam Cassell, and then I found out two other interviews with Robert Ory and Kenny Smith. And they were asked a question. It was multiple players, basically from the Akeem Olajuwon Rockets. And all of them stated that if Michael Jordan had not retired in 1993, the Rockets team would have beaten the Bulls in the 94 and 95 finals. I'm going to take a look here at the 94 finals real quick because Drexler joined the Rockets by then. 94, I don't think it would be even a conversation. The Bulls would destroy the Houston Rockets. The Rockets barely got through the New York Knicks. But it doesn't matter. So let's just listen to those statements here. And one is from, like I said, Robert Ory. One is from Kenny Smith. And the latest one is from Sam Cassell. And that's the one which actually got me to wanna make this video. So here you go.
I will say this. Those teams are great. The first three championships, most people don't know this, but
that's what I'm talking
it's
about.
regular season. But we were 6-1 against them in 3 years. We only lost one game to them in 3 years because they really had to double team every time. One of the things Phil Jackson did not want to do, he doesn't like in double teaming. And Akeem would go crazy, and then by the end third quarter, they'd be like, all right, let's go double them. And then splash, splash, splash. So we just matched up. Michael Jordan's the greatest player ever, but I don't think he would have won 8 straight. That's it. I just don't think he would have won 8 straight. I think he would have won if they had Dennis Rodman or they kept Horace Grant, maybe different story.
I know we always talk about this, about who would have won in 94 and 95 if MJ would have left. But, people don't realize how good Dream was and how competitive Vernon Maxwell was.
Why not? I mean, Kenny said y'all would have handled him. And, what was your thoughts? Obviously, you have an understanding and you won a lot.
Yeah.
Those are some tough Bulls teams, but y'all was tough too. So
Yeah, we were tough. But this is why I know we would have won it, because I played for Phil. And I go back to this 2006 season. 2004 season when we were playing San Antonio, and I had to guard Tim. Tim gave me 36 a night. I'm begging for some, man, y'all gave me a double team. Because Tim started facing me up and doing stuff that I had never seen before. I said, I need a double team. And Phil was like, and one man won't beat us. I'd be damn if he won't one man beat us. He's killing me right now.
Yeah.
And so he double teamed. I said, and with that same mentality, I know it wouldn't have changed with Dream.
Dream with an
And you think about this, and I'm looking back at everybody that they had on that Bulls team. I know I'm a better defender than all them dudes. Mm-hmm. And I know Dream is better than Tim. So they wouldn't have been able to stop Dream. They said, okay. And I feel like the young Rob would have been competitive enough to stop Scotty. Mm-hmm. And so I figured that's why we would have won it. And then you got, everybody said, what about the Black Jesus, meaning MJ? Look at the way Vernon played.
Ory, few guys were saying that they felt like if Mike wouldn't have went away, y'all still would have did what y'all did. You believe that?
I think so, man. I'm tight. We was good.
So you saying?
I'm saying. I think
y'all, the Houston Rockets, if MJ don't go away in '93 and he come back, that y'all would have beat Michael Jordan and the Bulls?
I think so. I can believe what I want to believe now.
Y'all hear this, America?
I believe what I want to believe now. I just think, like I said again,
you ain't alone in this. You got
we had,
that feel that way too.
They had Michael Jordan that no one could stop.
Right.
But we had that African that no one can stop.
I respect it.
But that African was a great defender too. He's a great, all that going to the rim dunking, he was there.
Hakeem, he was there in 91, 92, and 93 as well, right?
That brings you to the West. It couldn't get past. They couldn't get past Magic. It
okay.
Couldn't get past Magic.
Now, after you've heard these comments, what do you personally think? And you can answer in the comments, state your opinion without even listening to mine yet. But now I'm going to go into mine. So a few of these guys mentioned the Rockets' regular season record against the Bulls with MJ, which supposedly would point to the Rockets being a better team. And I checked into that record. And the record pretty much, while MJ was on the Bulls, between the Rockets and the Bulls is 12-1, 12-11. The Rockets having 12 wins, Bulls having 11 wins. That does not take into consideration the Wizard years, because it's the Bulls versus Rockets. So I'm just taking the years where Michael Jordan was on the Bulls. So the Rockets won 12, the Bulls won 11. So the Rockets had a better record. But what does this really show us? This doesn't really show us anything. Completely nothing. And I will tell you why. The Bulls' record with MJ against the Utah Jazz was actually Jazz having 13 wins, the Bulls having 11. Bulls having 10. So the Jazz actually had better record than the Bulls, than the Rockets. The Jazz had a better season record than the Rockets against the Bulls with Mike. And the Bulls faced the Jazz in the playoffs twice and beat the Jazz twice. Now in the 1995 season, there will be one major difference between the Bulls when they faced the Jazz. That would be Dennis Rodman. The Bulls would not have Dennis Rodman on their team. But, of course, if MJ wouldn't have left in 1993, I also don't think that Horace Grant would have left the Bulls to Orlando. I think MJ wouldn't have had that, wouldn't have allowed that to happen. So we're looking at the Rockets from 1995, at the Bulls from pretty much 1993, with maybe minor changes. But going position by position, we go like this. Center-wise, Hakeem Olajuwon for the Rockets, and on the Bulls, you have the three-headed monster, Purdue, Longley, and Wennington. Looking at those players, I don't really need to even get into it. Hakeem all day long, there's no question. If this one goes to the Rockets, the center position, Rockets all the way. The Bulls have a big plus here because they have 18 fouls to give Hakeem Olajuwon from the Bulls, from those three players. Now, power forward position, let me say this. Robert Horry was playing the power forward position in 1995 for the Houston Rockets. And if Horace Grant would have stayed, it would have been Robert Horry versus Horace Grant at the power forward position. And I'll be honest with you, I take Horace Grant because in my eyes, he was a better defender, rebounder. They both averaged about 13 points a game in the playoffs that season. And if you're looking at 1995, he was in Orlando. Horace Grant was averaging almost 15, with Shaq and Penny on that team taking most of the shots. So you could even argue that Horace Grant, by 1995, he would have been averaging about 15 a game. But he was a better rebounder. He averaged over 10 rebounds a game in the playoffs. Robert Horry had 7. He was just a better defender. Simple as that. Now, small forward, if you look at the rosters for the playoffs, for the Houston Rockets for the playoffs in 1995, the NBA Finals starting small forward for the Houston Rockets was Mario Elie. And Mario Elie, would be going against Scottie Pippen. Mario Elie is going against Scottie Pippen. There's also no question. This position goes directly to the Bulls. There's no question. Scottie Pippen is a much better player than Mario Elie ever was. So it's 2-1 Bulls so far in starting lineup positions. Now, if you look at shooting guard, because Clyde Drexler joined the Houston Rockets and he was still playing pretty damn good, I still picked that position for the Bulls. You got Michael Jordan there. And we have seen the Drexler versus Jordan matchup already before when the Bulls played Portland Trailblazers in 92. Drexler will not keep up with MJ. We're talking about pretty much in between a 93 MJ or 95 MJ. And 93 MJ averaged 35 points a game in the playoffs. That was the 93 MJ. How much off do you think he would be? In 95, only after playing 17 games in the season, MJ averaged 32 a game anyway. He just had some bad turnovers and they lost to Orlando. But if he was in between there, let's say he would average 33, 34 points. And like I said, we all saw what MJ did to Clyde when Clyde was in his prime, just like MJ. Clyde averaged in the Portland versus Bulls finals, he averaged 24 points a game, but he shot only 40%. And MJ averaged 36 points a game and averaged 53% field goals. He was killing Clyde Drexler then. MJ all day with these two. Then you're looking at the point guard position. Point guard position, you're looking at this. Kenny Smith was the starting point guard for the Rockets. B.J. Armstrong was the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. I was thinking long and hard about this, and I cannot come up with a better solution than a tie. I think these guys are tied. They were so similar statistically and even physically. It's just hard to say. You can't really give anyone an edge of finals experience or title won or whatever, because they both had that. They both had finals experience. They both already had NBA titles. I actually think that Smith would struggle maybe a little bit if the Bulls bench would come in and Ron Harper start guarding him at 6'6", because Kenny Smith was 6'3", defend him, a much taller guard. And at one point, I've seen an interview with Scottie Pippen where he actually was talking about this matchup. And Scottie Pippen said that he would also probably switch Smith. Scottie Pippen, the great defender that he is, he would try to switch to Smith to prevent him from delivering the ball to Hakeem Olajuwon inside. That would be a really tough matchup for the Rockets. So, since I take the point guard position as a tie, just looking at those two starters, the Bulls lead those positions 3-1 because we're not counting the PG. And looking at all the positions I went through, Bulls 3-1. The only starter the Rockets had better is the center, Hakeem. But Hakeem is not winning that series alone. There's no way. I really don't think the Rockets would have beaten the Bulls at all that year. And the year before, even in 94. Like I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, they barely got by the Knicks in 7 in the finals. The Knicks are my favorite team. They're not beating the Bulls with Jordan. There's no question. This is all a hypothetical, of course. But that's just my opinion and me going through it. If you look at the benches, there's not much difference in both teams either. I simply can't see any other outcome unless the Bulls would just get tired of winning and get bored and not be interested in the games, because they'd be going for their fifth title in 95 straight. So tell me what you think in the comments. I'm very curious what your guys' opinions are, and I'll answer a lot of them. Maybe you have some points I haven't thought about. I don't know. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.